sometimes people focus on only being fast, and that's great. But if you don't have consistency, you know, you can lose a race like that. I mean, being fast is really good for qualifying for sure, but if you could be consistently fast, it's the best way.
Well, consistency is a part of the whole package, right? I mean, if you get into a race, whether it be a sprint race, an IndyCar race, Daytona 24, you know, you can't be all over the mark when it comes to lap times. You have to be very consistent.
That's one of the things that's hard to teach any driver, whether it's an IndyCar driver, first time in sports car racing, or you're brand new to racing in general. That becomes a place that a lot of drivers maybe struggle and some guys excel in. And you know, maybe you aren't the fastest driver over a lap, but being really, really quick over a stint through traffic, that's a skill that isn't maybe obvious, but is very important.
I think it's a combination of concentration and discipline. You know, the objective is very clear: to maximise the corner. It's like making sure you hit the racing line and don't go too deep and lose all the momentum. Don't go too early. Don't turn it. You know, all those sort of things will mean you're inconsistent. So you've got to get to like a nice flow and a nice rhythm.
Hans Stuck told me that a long time ago. You know, it's all in your butt. You know, your butt's feeling what the car is doing, right? The poo-poo meter. And basically, you know, a car, everyone always asks me, what makes a fast driver? And basically you have this edge, like an edge of a piece of paper. And when you're at the absolute limit, you're at the fastest, you know, at the edge of adhesion. If you go over that limit, you're either pushing, or you're loose, or you're crashing.
The most important part of the whole corner is where you hit the brake pedal. So that whole braking phase, it's not just where you hit the brake, but it's also where you're coming off the brake. So you want to hold the brake into the corner as long as possible to keep the front of the car down, as an example. So, but if you have that braking point too early, you're going to slow the car down too much. So at a certain point, your next reaction is to get off the brake, which lifts the front. Then you're going to want to get on the power too early, which you're going to have to increase steering angle. So, and at the same token, if you brake too late, you're going to turn in with too much brake pedal, and that's also going to understeer. So getting that happy medium and the feeling on the brake, that's the most important part of your job, to set the car up for the rest of the corner.
And for me, I like when you're on the throttle to really get on it, you know, and not to have a power and a lift and a power and a lift, you know, depending on the nature of the corner. And I think one of the most important things is vision, looking up to the exit nice and early and being very calculative on how you apply the throttle, and confident with it as well.
I think when you're just starting out in karting or in cars, the big thing is to work on your mental approach. You know, a lot of times in qualifying, the harder you try, you feel like your hair's on fire, you're white knuckling it, you're going to go slower than if you take it down a notch and really think everything through.
The first time I came to Daytona and I got on a super speedway in NASCAR in the draft, I was holding on so tight, using so much energy, and I mean, in 3 laps I was tired because I couldn't grip the wheel any harder because I was so uncomfortable with the environment. And the more I ran, I don't know how, but it became from as scary as it could ever be to I can't do this to, man, this is fun, I'm going up the middle. And the more you do it, the more you get comfortable with the environment and the less energy you use because you're not holding on too tight. Everything's second nature, your footwork, your brake marks.
What I found as a young driver and what I still find now is making sure that I'm doing the fundamental things correct. Making sure that my eyes are up, making sure that I'm looking at the right places at the right time. Those are the things that maybe as you progress and you start thinking about traffic and thinking about strategy, that sometimes those things can sort of fall away for a little bit. So I find myself now just making sure that I am still doing the basics properly.
The car's balance, which is directly related to your feedback earlier in the weekend and how you set the car up. Each driver needs something different. And if you know your driving style and what you need to be consistent, not only be fast, but be consistent and have a predictable car, that'll bring you a long way.
A car that has a little bit understeer in it's a lot more consistent to drive than a car that has oversteer in it. You know, it's a lot harder to hang on. I've backed a lot more cars into the guardrail than I've driven straight in.
Every driver definitely has their own favorite kind of car to drive. Some guys like a car that's very secure on entry. Some drivers don't like that.
If I have a car that's edgy, really good on the front, a little bit too loose, that makes me inconsistent. If I have a car that's got just a little bit understeer, really solid on entry, going in from the rear, that is a comfortable place for me, as I say, comfy. and I can drive much more consistent that way.
A number of variables go into it, keeping your heart rate down, to keep your mind clear, you know, and focusing on that consistency by hitting your marks, hitting your apexes, you know, staying focused in the moment.
You know, a lot of the stuff we do in the sim is long runs because you're having to concentrate for an hour or 2 hours, and it's really good training, even if they're going back home and they're on their PlayStation, but not enjoying the PlayStation because you're racing something else or someone else, but just pounding out lap after lap after lap and trying to get the consistency.
And every time you make a mistake, log it. After the session, think about why it happened and fix it the next time you're becoming a better driver.